But actually, out there, I don't think it was as tough as what people were sitting watching, because at least we knew what we were doing, and I knew at some point we were going to get tested like that. I didn't know whether it would be the final, semi-final, whatever, but there was going to be a point where it came down to one or two moments, and I remember thinking of 20 to go, well, this is going to be it. This is the time I'd sort of thought about, and everyone kept their composure, and we just did what we had to, and that last, from when we got the turnover for the last 3 or 4 minutes, we had to have a scrum, we had to have a line out, we had to hold the ball, and if you ever trained what you want to do and do it perfectly, that's what we did, and I think that's what, you look back with a bit of pride on that.
I heard somebody say the other day that that last 20 minutes personified what the whole of the 4 years had been about. That it was the build-up for those incidents that took place, that you were never going to lose the ball and you had to hold on to it.
Yeah, and the thing is, we'd planned for that. Perhaps in 07 hadn't thought too much about those moments, and that was perhaps a learning we got, is that expect to be in those situations, because knockout games are like that. It won't go all your way. And it's about making the most of whatever comes. And with 20 minutes to go, it was never going to be a high-scoring game. It was never going to be comfortable, and it was about finding a way to, going through all your things you'd done and leading up to it, playing experiences to ensure we got what we were after. And everyone out there, you never saw anyone panic, which it would have been easy to do. Think, oh no, what's going to happen if we don't get there? But it was just like, what do we got to deal with now? And we did that, and we'd had to defend a lot of that time, and but the guys all had to dig pretty deep, and they did that.
Heritage and tradition and the things that Americans call legacy. Are you a believer in that stuff?
I think when you look at the All Blacks history, there's a legacy there, and when you come into the All Blacks, you want to be a part of that, but you also want to add to it, and I think that's the attitude we've had in the All Blacks since I've been involved, is adding to that legacy, adding to the what it means to be an All Black, and winning the World Cup certainly did that, but I think we did that. A lot of things we've done over the last few years has added to that as well. So hopefully the All Blacks team, brand, whatever you call it, is in a better state than we arrived.
You and I will never call it a brand. It's always going to be a team.
Yeah.
Because whether you've played for it or not, it's our team if you're a Kiwi. You've never thought about going overseas, have you?
No, I haven't, to be honest, because I just love what I'm doing here, and there'll be one day when I can't do that anymore, and I don't ever want to think I could have had a bit more than what I did, so I want to make the most of every minute I get.
You'll grab as much time as you can, and I guess this is a dumb question, when you're looking ahead. It's the body, is it, that you've got to keep going? But what about the head? Mentally, you would have been stuffed after the World Cup.
Yeah, I don't think I realised how knackered I was, to be honest, and people said, oh, you look pretty knackered by the end of it, but it was probably the more mental stress, I suppose, or the amount you put into it, because I think, you get to, the guys of my age or been around as long as I have or longer, it comes down to the drive and what gets you to go to training, not so much whether you can or not, but if you lose the edge to want to be there, well, your body's going to pack up anyway, and I'm still loving what I do and still get a huge thrill out of running out and playing well and wanting to play well, wanting to be better, and until that goes, that's why I still want to carry on.
This will never happen to me, but I'm going to ask you the question, what the hell is it like to be a hero? Because you are the hero. So what is it like to be that? Because, I'm in a different role, I'm hated by a lot of people. So what's it like to be you?
It's pretty good when you win a World Cup, I tell you. The big thing that you don't want to get is too carried away yourself. Like everyone in New Zealand had a huge amount of joy watching the All Blacks play. I think the tournament as a whole, but then watching the All Blacks play, and it feels pretty good to have been able to put a smile on people's face, and I think that's what I get joy out of. But at the end of the day, you're not different to what you were beforehand. You've just gone out and put a lot of work into achieving something you're after, and as long as you keep your feet on the ground, I'm just happy to have delivered on what we said we wanted to do and made a lot of people happy along the way. So I have a lot of pride in that. But you don't look at yourself like in that light. You just sort of you're just a normal Kiwi bloke who's you know, playing for the All Blacks and doing the best you can. When you go into something where it's all on the line effectively, and different to guys go to war, but all on the line in terms of you're either in or you're out type thing, and you've got to go through some tough times, and you do that as a bunch, you form something. There's something unique, and I probably didn't realise it until, you know, you meet up with the guys you hadn't seen for a while, and I was just talking to Conrad about it before. You couldn't wait to see the boys that you'd been through that experience with, because only they know exactly what it was like, and I think that's what creates that special thing. And you look at the 87 team we had lunch with during the tournament. There's a real close knit there because they've done something that, well, no one had done up to that point here in New Zealand, and you know, that's one thing with this group is there's not many of us experience that, and it's something you've got in common.
And you come back, you're also like a Top Gun, because every young guy now wants to say, hey, I'm going to test him out. He's getting a bit older, I'm going to have a crack here. You feel that?
Yeah, I suppose it's been like that for a bit, but that's what I love. Yes. You know, that's a great challenge, is that you know, to try and stick to your standards and get better, so that you know, there's always going to be people wanting to, you know, get your spot or whatever, but that's what keeps me going.